Good afternoon and welcome, yes, indeed, to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. As always, broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. And joining me from Atlanta, Georgia, that's right, for Big Ten football. Yeah, he usually covers the SEC for Outkick. He's my great friend, Trey Wallace. He's got a preview Indiana and Oregon. My man, how you doing today?
I'm good. I would just like to clarify that I was at 4 Big Ten games this year. So let's just get that out in the open. No, man, it's good. I followed the best storylines. And to me, I did the Ole Miss thing for like 3 weeks straight. Thanks to Lane Kiffin for ruining my Thanksgiving and other holidays. And you know what? One of the best games. There's only two. But getting to see Fernando Mendoza again in person, like I really wanted to do that. And so yeah, man, this is going to be a fascinating 2 days. And I just hate it for the college football fans. We have to watch these games on a Thursday night and then a Friday night, not the weekend. So
all right, we'll start with your game that you're covering on Friday night there at the home of the SEC championship game, as I call it after a while, because the Falcons don't win there. So it's just the SEC.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. What do you think of this matchup? It's a rematch of a game that Indiana won in Eugene earlier in the season.
Yeah, I'm fascinated because of the way Indiana won earlier in the season. And, you know, I also look at it as Dan Lanning gets another opportunity at a team. And I'm like, oh boy, okay, like this one could get interesting. And, you know, and I don't know how much I can take away from what they did to Texas Tech because I just think they demolished them along the defensive line. And obviously, I can't take a lot away from it, but I'm saying that Texas Tech's offense just was not there. And I think you look at Indiana and what they were able to do against Alabama, just demoralizing them. I that's why I'm so fascinated in this one. And Fernando Mendoza versus Dante Moore. You also look at all, you know, the also the other storyline is Kurt Tignetti, who every single day, I'm not trying to compare him to Nick Saban, so folks don't go crazy on social media, but he acts like Nick Saban in a way. And I find that part fascinating as well, because on the opposite side, you just got Dan Lanning, who's just a maniac. Like this one's going to be fun, man. Like I'm excited because I think there's a really good shot here, and I know it's an obvious answer to this, but I think the winner of this game will be the national champion, in my opinion. So you know, we're gonna find out. Like to me, can Fernando do it again, or can Oregon put the same amount of defensive pressure on a Mark that Ohio State did in the Big Ten title game and force him to make a big play down at the end? So like this one's going to be good. I don't know who's going to win these games, and I think that is the best part about where we are at in the playoff is that we have 4 teams, and if you hooked us all up to lie detector tests, who's going to win the game? I got no idea. And to me, I think that is the best part of the CFP and where we are at right now.
What kind of weirds me out is this has the potential also to be the top 2 picks in the NFL draft at quarterback. Right? That press box you're going to be in, is it just going to be all these NFL scouts there? Like, what do you think of that side of the story?
I mean, well, you're gonna have a bunch of Falcons people up in there. You know, I mean, Saints people want to make that trip back to Atlanta. You know, that part is also interesting to me. We did see Ty Simpson came out and declared for the NFL draft. But at the same time, like I really do think it comes down to Fernando and Dante. So, you know, I hate to judge them off one game, but this is going to be a big showcase. And so, you know, I know what Fernando can do. I'm excited to see what Dante Moore can do in these big pressures. We saw it earlier at Penn State earlier in the year. I was at that game. And I just feel like right now you got 2 quarterbacks that have shined all season, but in my opinion, the last 6 games of the year kind of stepped up even further. So yeah, that's and there'll be a bunch of NFL people. I respect the storyline that's going on at Fiesta Bowl with the Hurricanes and Ole Miss, but this one just kind of feels different, and it feels like 2 juggernauts going up against each other. And it's crazy that we're at that point in college football, brother, where we're calling Indiana a juggernaut, but that's where we're at. So get used to it. They're not going anywhere.
Okay, here's my draft evaluation. I
Here
want
we
your
go.
thoughts on this. He reminds me, Mendoza, a little of Kirk Cousins in the way he plays. That's how I look at him. Maybe he can run around better than Kirk Cousins, but that's
a good comparison, dude. Like I didn't even think about that. Now we're not talking about Kirk Cousins now. Just messing with it. I could see that. And Dante Moore reminds me of Bo Nix. And so, we're starting to wade here, and I think that's what makes this one so intriguing. From who can go downfield further, who's going to stretch it, but also at the same time who can get outside the pocket and get 15 to 20 yards. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, we can call this per se a tryout and whatnot, but I think both of these quarterbacks have proven enough during their time at both schools, and now we're going to find out Friday night. Like I am so prepared for this one because of the unexpected. Like I know Oregon's going to bring it on defense. Like I know Indiana is going to do their damnedest to get maybe Fernando outside the pocket a little bit, like we saw what he did against Alabama. And so, how do these two combine? And so, I'd pay to be in the Oregon locker room to hear the pregame speech by Dan Lanning. But I just, to me, Atlanta, Indiana, and Oregon, this town. Look, unfortunately, Oregon's had to travel so much. Fans are going to have to make a decision. Do we want to look? You might as well just pop an RV or a camper in the Southeast because you went to Miami. Now you got to come back to Atlanta. And if you win, you go back to Miami. It's like, just pop your ass down right here in the Southeast. And so I do think it'll be an Indiana pro crowd. And that's fine, but it's just going to be an exciting atmosphere inside the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
We're here with Trey Wallace, Outkick. All right, coaching who are intimidating in person, coaches, right?
Oh.
You bring up Saban. Let me tell you, when Saban would walk in the room at SEC Media Days, you go, there's Nick Saban. Like, that is like one of those moments. You're like, oh my God, there he is.
Is my shirt buttoned up? Are my pants looking? Are we okay?
There was a game I covered where it was Magic Spurs, and I got a chance to say hello to Greg Popovich. And there was that moment. There was that moment where like, oh, is he going to start yelling at me? And it freaked me out where he said, hey, how's it going? And I didn't, my brain didn't know what to do at first. Is there that moment with Cignetti where you're like, whoa, this, I gotta keep my guard up when I'm talking to this guy?
It's like Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do with your hands. It's like one of them things. Like Cignetti, man, like if you wanted a replica of Nick Saban and how he acts, there you go. And I'm not sitting here I'm not comparing the two, but what I am saying is that he's just a college football coach, straight and general. And he doesn't care about outside perspective. He's going to do whatever he wants to. He's going to say whatever he wants to. If you get enough out of him, he's going to give you a great answer. I mean, this is the same guy that opened up his press conference and said, Google me, so like he just comes with swagger. So Kurt Cignetti, I think, is such a great story as well because of, where he came from, and then all of a sudden you've got Indiana on the scene within 2 years, dude. 2 years. And I know we are in a different era of college athletics, and I respect it and I get it, but you got to have a good coach to be able to put it all together. And I think that's what Indiana has with Kurt Cignetti. And man, if he will hoist a trophy in 2 weeks, man, I think it changes the narrative around college athletics a little bit.
You know what it reminds me also of? They have money at Indiana, and they finally, like, all these Big Ten teams are like, wait a minute, we have deep pockets. Let's spend money. Is Indiana kind of that blueprint in your eyes? Hey, let's go spend money on football and let's do this right now.
You know what the fascinating thing is about all of this conversation between what the SEC did in the past and what the Big Ten's doing now is that you kind of hit on it. The Big Ten's always had the money in the coffers. Like, it was all about, okay, let's go spend it now on football. Like, a lot of times we see it in basketball, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm even talking about the days where the backdoor deals are going down and you're dropping bags at the back doorstep. Like, there was always that money. Now that it's so out in the open, and you can do stuff legally. And if you're listening on radio, I'm doing quotation marks right now when it comes to legally. I think that what you've seen out of the Big Ten here's how somebody put it to me the other day. About 7-8 years ago, Greg Sankey from the SEC got all of his basketball coaches together and ADs and said, hey, we better start spending money now and start dominating college basketball as much as possible. It feels like the Big Ten has started to do that in the last 4 years when it comes to the football side of things. And that's why you're seeing an influx of cash from a lot of these Big Ten schools. And at the same time, a guy like a university like Indiana, they got boosters, they got money. And they're spending it now. Look what you got at Michigan. You got Larry Ellison putting in money because his girl went to Michigan. I'm just saying, this can go on. And I think that, we're going to continue seeing it in college athletics now. And I think the Big Ten's not going anywhere. And I think there's probably going to be a conversation in the offseason about where the SEC's at.
All right, let's end with this. And I appreciate coming on from Atlanta. We're here at Trey Wallace. Let's go to the other game.
There we go.
Okay, you wrote this article about all this chaos with Ole Miss and LSU and Lane Kiffin. And I commented on Facebook. I was like, look, I hope Miami beats them.
Yeah.
So we don't have to hear about this drama, this soap opera anymore. I'm not kidding. I am rooting for Miami to end this after a while for Ole Miss.
See, and I respect that 100%. But at the same time, Ole Miss, I'm not going to sit here and call them America's team, but man, what they have gone through and dealt with as a football team is such a fascinating story, man. 2 days after Thanksgiving's over, you lose your coach. And now all of a sudden, 4.5, 5 weeks later, you have a shot to play at a national championship if you beat Miami. You can't write that stuff, man. And so I think that's why they're obviously the fascination from me and you and being in the business is how the stuff is getting made behind the scenes. Does that make sense? But now I just feel like we are at a point with Ole Miss that if they beat Miami, and how they've done it. Because I was at that game at the Sugar Bowl last week, and it was fascinating, dude. To see Georgia and Ole Miss battle each other, and the way that it ended, I don't think Scorsese could have put this one together any better. Now, here's your problem. Miami's front seven, I've written about it a lot this season. They will demoralize teams. And what you saw, they went to the state of Texas twice in 12 days and beat Texas A&M and Ohio State. That's a darn good football team. What I worry about with Miami, and I would imagine you probably kind of feel the same way a little bit, and some of the listeners out there, what Carson Beck do we get on Thursday night? To me, that's what stands out the most, because I think they would have success against the Ole Miss defense. But at the same time, I don't know if this is the Carson Beck that comes out for 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions and about 220. Or is this Carson Beck that throws for 300, hits Malachi, a number of times, and they're able to spread out the offense? So that's why, to me, this game is so fascinating, in my opinion, because I think Miami's going to win, Mark, but Ole Miss has just shown me multiple times during the year that they can put all this noise behind them. And so Thursday night, man, this one, I don't think it gets away from anybody. I think we have a really good game. Kind of with you in thinking Miami's going to win this one. But at the same time, man, it wouldn't surprise me if Ole Miss did it. And, they come out now too. 2 assistant coaches are no longer there. They're not out at Fiesta Bowl with the Ole Miss Rebels. So, that storyline is still progressing. And so we'll see if it ends Thursday night or if it continues into Miami.
All right, Ole Miss can score. They could score 30-plus points. They did it against Georgia. They could score. All right, so Miami scored 10 at College Station, 10 points, won 10-3 in the weirdest game ever. Then Ohio State, they get the pick 6, so the offense only scored 17 points. So the question is, this is what you're bringing up. Can Miami score 25, 30 points in this football game? That's my question.
See, that's where I get a little nervous about Miami, because I don't trust them offensively. Maybe I should. I've seen too many times where They've kind of come up stagnant a little bit. But the other side of that is Miami's front seven is so darn good. Like Trinidad's going to be running around in circles in the backfield,
Okay. How did Miami not win the ACC? I don't understand. I don't get it.
I remember watching those two games. Like, how in the world did they lose to Louisville on that Friday night? And then how in the world did they go to SMU and lose that football game? Like, I'm floored by that. Like, we wouldn't have had the conversation surrounding all the ACC nonsense and who gets in and whatnot and how much of a factor Notre Dame played into it. Like, this is a good football team who got caught twice during the season at the craziest times. And so I don't know, but I will say this. They put all that behind them and it's all speed ahead. And for them, and I'm gonna bring this back up again. For them to go on the road twice in 12 days and beat those two teams shows me everything I need to know about Miami and that they can win the whole darn thing. So can they put it all together Thursday night at the Fiesta Bowl? We're going to find out. But I just think leading up to this point gives me enough confidence in that defense that they're going to cause a lot of problems. And, will it take I'm not going to say a pick six because, man, that was so lined up and disguised really well by the Miami defense to get Julian saying. But I've seen Trinidad Chambliss turn it over a couple times, in some games. So that to me is where the turning point can be. And, I will say the one thing that helps Ole Miss is they got a kicker who has grapefruits. As you can imagine, I'm being kind on that one with the 55, 57, and I think a 51 yarder. So, special teams will be a big factor in this one, but I'm sticking with my guns here. I'm going Miami to win this game. And I think that end of the day, we're going to get a Miami versus Oregon national championship game. That's my picks.
Oh, by the way, if you think Indiana has deep pockets, you should come to Miami, Florida sometime. All right. If they can keep winning, Mario can recruit. Yeah. Okay. They got some money down here.
Do they still go to John Ruiz?
Look, there'll always be a new guy. This is what I try telling people.
Right?
If one guy leaves, another guy will show up to take over that crown.
Exactly. Like they shift them out down there, man. Like it does. Like, okay, one guy goes to jail. The next guy's business falters. All right, who's next up? Who's our next billionaire? It's got you. Okay, all right. It's like a sign up list at a Walmart meet and greet. Like it's wild to see.
And by the way, I saw the story where the Ole Miss quarterback, he's trying to get that 6th year. Okay, look, I went to college for 5 years. That was it. Then it's like, look, after a while, you got to go. Okay, you have to go here after a while.
But here's the thing about that part. I don't disagree with his premise because he did sit out a year for medical reasons. So like, I kind of understand that one, but it's almost like, Miami had a 29-year-old tight end, 2 years ago, and it was his 8th year of college athletics. It's like at some point, bro, you got to move on. So I do think that we are going to, here's a little tidbit for you. I do think that we're going to hear something in regard to the court cases regarding players getting 5 years to play 5. And I do think that we're going to hear something within the next 2 weeks on the red shirt rule. So, and there, the Diego Pavia case, if everybody out there is wondering. So I'm not saying Diego's done with college ball, folks. Y'all can start freaking out. You don't have to trip out about him anymore. But yeah, I do think there'll be some rulings, and it is what it is. Like if Trinidad gets another opportunity to play, good on him. But man, we got to reel this in because it's getting old quick. Especially the players are getting old as hell.
The first time I think I ever talked to you,
I
think you were with Chris Lee.
Yeah,
doing a show. Chris does a great job with
Chris.
Chris is the man. I think I was at the SEC title game in 2016 at the Georgia Dome calling into your guys' show. I think that was the first time.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think I did the interview, and then the Gators got their heads bashed in that game. Dude, Alabama in that game scored on offense, defense, and special teams. It was 21-0, and it was already over. Like it was like in the first quarter.
Right? I do remember that now. And then we started connecting on a wrestling level as well, which don't get me started because I have no idea what Raw is doing right now. And as much as I love the product, I'm so darn confused. they got to nip that in the butt pretty quick. I could probably go.
Either. I don't get it. You're doing a Stranger Things? What are you talking about?
And there was no Stranger Things. Like, you got me all excited, stupid international wrestling community, for Jericho to come back. And I'm sitting there watching the whole thing, and I'm seeing Braun Breaker have botch after botch. And then I'll, and I love me some Punk. I love me some Punk.
And by the way, you're in Brooklyn, New York. That's a New York crowd.
And by the way, that crowd was dead on Monday night. I was shocked.
Look, I'm sorry I have to say this. Monday Night Raw is supposed to be on USA Network, on broadcast TV. That's where it needs to be.
You know what else agitated me? It was every 5 minutes we went to a freaking commercial. Like, what are we doing now with Netflix? I don't understand this. But, as somebody that will follow the PLEs, which, whatever, they're pay-per-views. I hate to call them PLEs. I think that WWE, and I know you have a really good relationship with them, I think that they had a good year in 24. I think 25 was pretty good. The Cena stuff was a little bit late with him turning heel, but I thought that they finished that in the right way. And I will say, because I know the show is about to come out here in about 2 weeks on Netflix, the Unreal show, they contacted me because they wanted to use my video because I was there when Seth Rollins got hurt and messed his knee up. So I had video of him going to the background. Yeah, they got me. I was a mark that night. They got me. And then when they reached out to me, said, "Hey, you mind if we use that video?" And I'm thinking, why would they want to? Oh, I got played. Okay. Yeah. So look, it's pretty fascinating where we're at right now in professional wrestling. And I would say that I'm also still an AEW guy just because I like the pro wrestling aspect of it compared to the entertainment.
I always tell people, all right, who's the champ? Who's the top heel? Is the champ the heel? Who is going for the belt? Who's for the belt? That we're getting away from this too much.
Here's what I think. Here's what I would love to happen. You know how we preached all those years and wanted Cena to turn heel, and he teased us at one time when he did the heel dance. It was about 8 years ago. Like, he shook his heel, whatever. I think we're about to see a Cody Rhodes heel turn.
Good.
Within the, and I want it. I want it. Because this Drew McIntyre stuff, come on, bro. We got to do better than that. It's okay, but give me heel and then have him face Roman again at WrestleMania with Roman as the face and Cody as the heel.
What I respect about you is I know you love the past. I'm because we're around the same age. You love, the Monday Night Wars. You love all the 90s stuff, but you want wrestling to be great moving forward. You don't just want it to be, back in my day, it was better, and there's nothing good about it now. You want it. You care about the sport.
And the other thing too, man, is I don't we grew up on WCW and WWF and even the NWA was still kind of going. I remember watching Sting at the Mobile Civic Center back in the day, and him screwing me because he was still at the hotel, so our meet and greet got canceled. I'm just one of those purists. Yeah.
You're still angry.
My mother really messed that one up. I've told that story before. But I will say, that's why I like to see AEW do well, to be honest with you, because they have stars of their own, man. And it's great for the sport in general to have these new guys coming up, and some of them have been around for a long time. And I think from a WWE standpoint, there a lot of it's turning into just filler every week. And we got to get back to what we had in 23, 24. And I get we can't have the bloodline all the time. I understand that. This Vision thing doesn't do anything for me because you got the Paul brother just sitting in the background, just promoting his energy drink. But at the same time, I think there's an opportunity to build off this. And I'm fascinated to see what we get with the Royal Rumble that is all the way in Saudi Arabia.
The example.
Yeah.
Like an LA Knight. LA Knight,
right,
is a journeyman who all of a sudden the crowd starts getting behind him, right? Hey, this guy, this is something interesting. Nope, sorry, got to squash it. Nope, sorry, we can't. And they squashed him, right? You bring up a Broad Breaker. He was very good when I was watching him in Orlando.
You would send me text messages.
Yeah, Broad's a great guy. So there's this feeling all right, well, he's going to go to the main roster. Well, now what? Now what are we doing with him? Right?
You're not putting the title on him because he's not a good speaker. And at the same time, he's not drawing right now. And that's not a shot. He just got to continue to go. By the way, what a subtle shot from Punk on Monday night when he rolled out in that jacket that was a throwback to, the Steiner brothers. People, that's you know what? That's the unfortunate part of where we're at in wrestling with the fans out there, that they had no freaking clue that M jacket that he wore was from Michigan, and that was from the Steiner brothers back in the day. Like, that's the part of me where it's like, okay, old school nostalgia.
So I love about Trey. He can't bring up any of this stuff on a first date. None. So he comes to me. Okay. You can't.
I just come to you, man. Like, thank God the girlfriend now is like, all right, you're good. You can watch every now and then. Like
that's it. I'm called Mark. He'll understand what I'm going through.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's how I'm doing. Like, I plan on taking a long break after the season's over and popping down there and going to an NXT show like you've been inviting me to.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do. Like, I love this stuff. So it's just fun. And if you want to call me an idiot for liking this stuff, I don't care, because I do. So this is what it is.
He is not an idiot. He is awesome with Outkick. He is Trey Wallace. And by the way, you did a great job on Fox News, by the way. I was so proud of you, buddy.
I appreciate that.
And you know what? You know what it is? You probably didn't want to go on there. Like, you didn't want that story to happen. But then you did. That was cool about it.
And the other crazy part about that one is they called me about 10 minutes beforehand. So like, hey, can you go live? And I'm like, live on what? Live on what? Oh, Fox. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, that's fine. And now, I'm getting booked to go on there all the time. I'm talking college athletics with folks that don't know what college athletics is, which is fine. But it all of it just, look, man, I think we are starting to see something really cool, and it's college athletics is becoming more mainstream. And it's never going to get up to the NFL level, and I'm not trying to say that, but it is cool to see where we are at with the sport in college basketball, college football, even college baseball. You know how much college baseball fan I am. So we're here, man. We got to enjoy the good old times.
And I really want to give credit to Michigan football, those players. I went to that bowl game in Orlando. They competed for 4 quarters. That could have been a complete disaster.
Busted their rear end.
Yeah. Yeah, they competed. I don't care they lost. I saw those players after the game. They competed. They weren't like Notre Dame, like, I'm sorry, we're not going to play. That was an embarrassment for the university, and they competed. I give them all the credit.
Let me tell you something about Notre Dame on the way out is they wanted to try to put their brand above everybody else. And then I go look at the numbers, and there's 9 million people tuning in. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. You want to step aside? That's fine. We'll bring somebody else in to do it. I didn't agree with it. They can be mad all they want at the CFP committee and whatnot, but don't take those moments away from the players, get to play a final game and everything like that. And so, yeah, and I give a hat tip to Michigan. You know, you got Biff Poggi on the sideline, and they're out here busting their rear ends against Texas. And, brother, it probably gave us one of the best games out of all the CFP in the bowl season.
Yeah. Trey Wallace, my man, thanks for your help. Enjoy your time in Atlanta. Good luck with your coverage.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.